Well, welcome again. I'm Kendo Sailor. I've been a student with Shishin Roshi at the Great Mountain Zen Center since 2009. I originally started practicing Zen at the Zen Center of Los Angeles in 1977 and lived first at the Zen Center in Los Angeles and then at the Zen community of New York with Bernie Glassman until 1984. And then at that time, I had a wife and a 1-year-old child, and it was time to go out and earn a living. And so I went out and earned a living and just got a little too busy to continue practicing at that time. And I had lots of adventures. I got my PhD in computer science and helped found a company and invested in real estate and took care of many of life's issues. And then in 2005, I was able to retire from working as a computer professional. And it gave me a chance to come back to practice, which I was in sore need of at that time. And I first began practicing with the Thich Nhat Hanh group here in Saskatoon, where I live. And I found that very healing. Their gentle approach and their focus on living and the way one conducts oneself in life. But I missed the practice I missed the lineage that I'd started out in. And I was really happy in 2009 to reconnect with Shishin Roshi and start practicing. My first sesshin was that Rohatsu in 2009, and it was a doozy, at least for me. So uh, I guess I turned all the lights on here so you could have a little view of our Saskatoon Zendo. As you can see, we have a small Zendo here. We've converted our garage into a Zendo. And on the altar sits Avalokiteshvara, or a Kuan Yin figure. I was really pleased to find a female Buddha to put on our altar because, I don't know, I think we spend enough time bowing down to men, and we can bow down to women for a while. And certainly, I don't know, there are some stories to tell, but maybe that's for another time. So, where I thought I'd start out tonight, or what I thought I would hang my talk around, is a poem by Ezra Bida called What is Our Life About? Ezra being the teacher at the San Diego Zen Center. And the poem goes like this. What is our life about? Our aspiration and our desire for a genuine life is to see the truth of who we really are, that the nature of our being is connectedness and love, not the illusion of a separate self to which we cling. It is from this awareness that life can flow through us, the unconditioned manifesting freely as our conditioned body. And what is the path? To learn to reside in whatever life presents, to learn to attend to all those things that block the flow of a more open life, and to see them as the very path to awakening, all the constructs, the identities, the hurrying, the holding back, the protections, the fears, the self-judgments, the blame, all that separates us from letting life be. And what is the path? To turn away from constantly seeking comfort and from trying to avoid pain, to open to the willingness to just be in this very moment exactly as it is. No longer so ready to be caught in the relentlessly spinning mind. Practice is about awakening to the true self. No one special to be, nowhere to go, just being. We are so much more than just this body, just this personal drama. As we cling to our fear and our shame and suffering, we forsake the gratitude of living from our natural being. So where in this very moment do we cling? Softening around the mind's incessant judgment, we can awaken the heart that seeks to be awakened. And when the veil of separation rises, life simply unfolds as it will. No longer caught in the self-centered dream, we can give ourselves to others like a white bird in the snow. Time is fleeting. Don't hold back. Appreciate this precious life. So let's go through that again. Our aspiration for a genuine life is to see the truth of who we really are. This was certainly my motivation to start practicing. I remember being back in high school, and I was in high school in the late 60s and the early 70s. And in those days, we didn't have computers in our pockets. In fact, my high school bought a computer when I was in my second year in high school, and they set up a little computer lab. And the computer lab was in this small room. It was probably 10 by 20 feet with a divider in the middle. So on one side was a place for the computer and a couple of programmable calculators that they had purchased. And on the other side was a small office for the math teachers. And one day I was in there programming away on the computer or otherwise fooling around by myself. And I heard a math teacher, Mr. Donut, saying that he had no patience with students who claimed that they didn't know who they were. The head of the math department, Mr. Zetterberg, argued with him and tried to soften his viewpoint, but I was really struck because I was exactly that student who had the sense that I didn't know who I was and would have loved to find out, but was not courageous enough to stand up to Mr. Donut and say to him, "So, who am I?" I didn't even know that was a question you could ask until, of course, then. So this is a question that's been with me for a while, and it's a question that burns in some of us. Our aspiration for a genuine life is to see the truth of who we really are, that the nature of our being is connectedness and love, not the illusion of a separate self to which we cling. Man, do I cling. I think that's my superpower. I can cling on to the smallest thing. I can cling on to things that don't even exist. It's hard to see the connectedness in love, particularly when one is in pain. It's hard to feel the connectedness in love when one is not connected to oneself. And it is hard not to see what appears to be the randomness and disconnection of existence. And it is against that I struggle, that we all struggle. I think I have a reasonably solid rational understanding of the oneness that is our life, but I have yet to feel it completely and still struggle. It is from this awareness that life can flow through us, the unconditioned manifesting freely as our conditioned body. That fusion of absolute and relative. No absolute? Well, then there's no relative. No relative? Then there's no absolute. And what is the path? To learn to reside in whatever life presents, to learn to attend to all those things that block the flow of a more open life, and to see them as the very path to awakening. How refreshing. And how I resist seeing my own obstacles as being the very path that I need to tread. Ah, what I want, it seems, is for the path to be well marked and to feel good, familiar, not surprising, not surprising, challenging, and painful, but the path is what it is. And if not surprising, challenging, and painful, then would it really lead to awakening? And what is the path? To turn away from constantly seeking comfort and from trying to avoid pain, to open to the willingness to just be in this very moment exactly as it is. What is my path? My first choice was the path of the artist. I had the simple belief that what an artist did was discover something deeper about life and then share that understanding with the world. And so in my work or in my attempts to live that life, I actually got to live with a number of talented artists. But I was unsatisfied because I didn't really care about learning to produce good art. I wanted to know what life was about. So when I learned of Zen and found the Zen Center of Los Angeles, it felt like I had found my way and my place, a place where I might be open to the willingness to just be in this very moment, exactly as it is. No longer so ready to be caught in the relentlessly spinning mind. I am still working on this. I think it is my talent to be caught in the relentlessly spinning mind. And it is something I struggle with. There is no question that my sitting practice has given me awareness of the patterns of my thoughts, given me insight into these continual circles I run around like a mouse on a wheel. Practice is about awakening to the true self. No one special to be, nowhere to go, just being. Well, I don't know how things are going in Colorado or elsewhere where you are tonight, but here in Saskatchewan, things are not good. We're in the middle of the fourth wave of the pandemic, and it's the worst it's been for us. I think because we had a relatively easy time of the first three waves, people just didn't really take it seriously or didn't want to take it seriously, and were ready to just come back to life again. But that has filled up our hospitals and to just about overflowing. So I don't see myself traveling to share in sessions anytime soon. This line, no one special to be, nowhere to go, just being, that really describes what I love about sesshin and sesshin at Maitreya Abbey. Who could be anyone special in Doksan with Shishin Roshi? Surely that would get thrown out very quickly. And what better place to just bask in the delight of just being? The bell rings, time to sit. The bell rings, time to stand, to work, to rest, to sit again. We are so much more than just this body, just this personal drama as we cling to our fear and our shame and suffering. We forsake the gratitude of living from our natural being. So where in this very moment do we cling? Where do I cling and cling most tightly? to my failures. And I suppose that is an indication of my character. How on earth can I be nothing but the Buddha when I am so imperfect? Surely the Buddha would do better than this. And yet, a favorite analogy of mine goes like this. One day, the Buddha fell asleep, dreaming. And in that dreaming, he dreamed that he was you, living your life just as you are, until he suddenly awoke to realize that he was the Buddha. Now, why would I think that this consciousness of mine is special, is separate, is different? Well, I'm working on it. So where in this very moment do we cling? Softening around the mind's incessant judgment, we can awaken that heart that seeks to be awakened. And this is the promise that keeps me going, to continue to work on awakening that heart, to help me live in this world, to tread more lightly, and to bring light where I am. And when the veil of separation rises, life simply unfolds as it will, no longer caught in a self-centered dream. We can give ourselves to others like a white bird in the snow. How sweet it is when life simply unfolds as it will, when we let go of our thoughts of how it should be, rather than caught in the self-centered dream, engaging and attending to what needs attending. Time is fleeting. Don't hold back. Appreciate this precious life. Time is fleeting. Don't hold back. Appreciate this precious life.